Officers, I am Judge Marcus Hall. My identification is in my wallet if you need to verify it.
A federal judge? Really? You expect us to believe that?
You may confirm it. I am simply asking to be treated fairly.
Eric, maybe we should check.
No. I know exactly what's going on here.
The metal cuffs closed around my wrists so hard that the sound seemed to bounce around the gas pumps. My cheek was pushed against the hot ground, and it felt like a frying pan. A young police officer stood over me and laughed at my ID like it was a joke. This happened next to Pump 3 at a place called Sunco on Road 47, with many people holding up their phones. In the short time between a heavy knee on my back and a camera flash, two thoughts hit me. First, I was still Judge Marcus Hall, a federal court judge. Second, none of that mattered to these officers who had already chosen the story they wanted. Only 30 minutes before, I had been in my office wearing a clean shirt, dark jeans, and glasses that always slid down my nose. I was reading papers that would keep honest officers awake at night. The papers spoke of false evidence, fake stops, and a culture where winning was more important than truth. The next morning, I was set to lead the biggest police corruption case our city had ever seen. Maybe that was a sign. I just call it the world warning me. I only stopped to get gas. I only wanted to avoid traffic on my way to meet with federal lawyers. I only wanted a calm night. But a police car that had followed me for 3 miles pulled in behind my car, slow and sure, like a shark that had decided to bite. 2 officers stepped out, one white named Eric Sloan, and the other named Daniel Reyes, who looked younger. They moved with fast, hard energy that you could feel even before they spoke. Eric smiled at me like a bully. Daniel looked at my hands, then at his gun, like he had practiced that move many times. I turned, kept my hands where they could be seen, and spoke softly. I did what parents teach their children to do. I said, "Good afternoon, officers. I'm Judge Marcus Hall with the Federal District Court. If you need to check my identity, my badge is in my wallet." The weather did not change, but the air did. Eric's face turned red, the kind of red I see in court when someone is about to say something foolish. He sneered. "Oh, so now you're a federal judge? What next? You going to tell us you're the president too?" I reached slowly for my wallet, but Daniel pulled his gun before I could take it out. People ran away. Others pulled out phones to record. The station owner, Amir Patel, lifted his phone without saying a word. I followed every rule. I kept my hands up. I spoke calmly. I tried to breathe steady. None of it mattered. They moved fast. They told me to place my hands on the car, turn around, and put my fingers together. One knee pushed me down. Then came the cuffs. They were so tight that my fingers tingled. They were not about safety. They were punishment. They took my wallet. When Daniel opened it, I saw doubt in his eyes when the light hit the badge. He said, "Eric, look at this." Eric grabbed the badge, waved it at the crowd, and laughed. "Federal judge? Yeah, right. And I'm the president. Nice fake." He said it loud for the cameras. Then the routine began. They patted me down, checked my pockets, and took out a bottle of pills. "What's this?" Eric asked. "Blood pressure medicine." "My name is on it," I said. He ignored me. Then Daniel pulled a small bag from his own belt and pretended to find it in my car. He held it up like a prize. People gasped. Amir said, "I got that," meaning he caught it on video. I thought, remember this moment. There's a difference between a story and proof. I was being forced into one story, but proof was rising on the phones around me. They pushed me into the police car. As we drove, I listed every wrong in my head. I did not do this to show off. I did it to stay calm. I noted the illegal stop, no real reason, ignoring my ID, searching without a warrant, fake evidence, and the purposefully tight cuffs. Keeping count helped me stay whole. The police station on 7th Street was cold and ugly. Inside, Sergeant Peter Long looked up when the officers dropped my wallet on the desk like a trophy. "Drug dealer pretending to be a federal judge," Eric said. Peter looked at my badge. The color left his face. He looked at me, then at the picture, then back at the badge. He knew something was wrong, but he said nothing. He simply typed on his keyboard. There is a script to booking, and he followed it. He asked for my name and address. When I asked for a phone call, he said, "Later." That made me angry. Rights are not something you hand out when you feel like it. They put me in a small cell that smelled like bleach. I sat on a metal bench, trying to keep my mind clear. I heard the officers outside talk with excitement. Possession with intent, resisting, false ID, obstruction, Eric said. Daniel added my medicine to the list. Another officer asked, "You got it on video, right?" Then Amir's voice came through. "We got everything. Cameras remember. Cameras are witnesses that do not lie." Soon, people outside the cell started asking questions. I heard young officers whisper, unsure what to do. The phones at the desk kept ringing. It was like someone had started a fire in the building, but no one wanted to say it out loud. I sat there and breathed slow. I told myself, "Stay calm, stay awake, remember everything." Far away at the courthouse, my clerk, Anna Lee, noticed I had not shown up for a meeting. I never missed meetings. She sent messages, but I did not answer. She tried calling, but my phone stayed quiet. She checked the building. She checked with other judges. When no one could find me, she reached out to the federal marshals. By early evening, she was talking to Agent Riley Jones from the FBI. Anna said, "Judge Hall is missing." Those words moved fast, like lightning. People online saw the gas station videos. A shaky clip spread from a few phones to thousands within minutes. The frame paused on my badge, clear and real. A nurse from the station spoke on her recording, describing how Daniel had placed the small bag in my car. A teenager's live stream showed Eric joking, and I'm the president. That one line changed everything. Agent Riley, watching the recording, said, "This is interference with federal court business." That sentence could turn a quiet case into a storm, and it did. Officers at the station began to look nervous as the phones kept ringing. They were calls from the mayor's office, news stations, and judges. Sergeant Peter Long walked back and forth, like he wanted to fix things but did not know how. Later, Captain Henry Ward walked in. His face looked tight. He picked up my badge and held it under a light. "This looks real," he said. Eric shook his head and answered fast, "It's a good fake. Look at him. Fancy car, nervous. Classic criminal." I said, calm as I could, "Captain, I am Judge Marcus Hall. Please call the federal court right now." For a moment, he looked like he might listen. But fear of being wrong beat the truth, and he hesitated. Time passed slowly. Night came. The phones did not stop. Everyone seemed unsure, except Eric, who kept talking like he was giving a show. Daniel stayed quieter now. His eyes kept moving, like he was thinking about what he had done. Around midnight, the front doors opened. Everything inside changed. Federal agents stepped in with Agent Riley leading them. She showed her badge and said, "We are here to release Judge Hall, collect all evidence, and take the arresting officers into custody." Captain Ward tried to speak, but she lifted her hand. "You have had hours," she said. That ended the argument. My cell door opened. My wrists hurt where the cuffs had cut into my skin. I stood up, and Agent Riley walked beside me. The booking area suddenly felt smaller. Eric and Daniel no longer looked bold. Their words were now just excuses on paper. Many think that should be the end. But morning started a new chapter. At sunrise, federal agents went to Eric's house. He stood in the doorway, wearing a t-shirt, and his wife held a coffee mug with both hands. No one expects federal charges before breakfast. 3 miles away, another team knocked on Daniel's door. He said, "I want to cooperate." That was a sign. Across town, The police station offices were sealed. Paper files were collected. Computer drives were taken. Captain Ward walked past a wall painting that said, "Serve and protect." Chief Harold Diaz, who had spent the night avoiding reporters, faced agents who did not care about his speeches. I stepped away from the case because I could not judge a story where I was part of the facts. A new special lawyer named Carla Velasquez took over. She worked slow and steady. She brought everything out piece by piece, like building a puzzle. Amir, the gas station owner, spoke first. He told the story simply. I recorded what I saw because it was wrong. The nurse talked calmly about how Daniel planted the small bag. The teenager showed her video and said sorry for saying, "Oh my God," too many times. Then Daniel came forward. His voice shook as he said officers sometimes carried small bags to use during stops that had no real reason. The room went quiet. People made low sounds, like hearing a painful truth. Agent Riley showed pictures from the videos. She slowed the frame that showed Daniel taking the bag from his belt. She explained every step. The jury leaned forward. Eric tried to defend his actions. He said he stopped me because I looked nervous and matched a description. He claimed the badge looked fake. Carla asked, "How many fake federal judge badges have you seen?" He said, "None." She said, "So you rejected a badge you have never seen faked because of the man holding it? Because of his car? Because he did not smile the way you wanted?" He had no strong answer. The jury reached a decision faster than anyone guessed. They found Eric and Daniel guilty of civil rights abuse, lying, blocking justice, and making fake evidence. Captain Ward and Chief Diaz were also found guilty because they helped create a culture that hid the truth. The police department was placed under strict watch for 10 years. Officers had to keep cameras on. All stops needed clear, written reasons. A new citizen group was made that had money and real power. People asked how it felt to walk out free. They wanted a hero ending. I did not feel like a hero. I felt whole, tired, and grateful for strangers who chose to be witnesses. I slept badly for weeks. I began to carry my badge a little higher without thinking. That is how fast fear becomes habit. The city tried to name the new police rules after me. I told them to name them after Amir, the man who decided to record. They still used my name. I gave my settlement money to help people who cannot afford lawyers when police paperwork tells lies. I began speaking with new police officers. I told them, "Your badge gives you authority, but not permission. Your training is a map, but not a compass. You will have freedom. Do not turn freedom into abuse." Some listened. Some crossed their arms. Time will show who truly heard me. People ask if I forgave the officers. Forgiveness is personal. Justice is public. I believe both matter, but they are not the same. I do not owe comfort to men who misuse their power. I owe the truth. I keep a copy of the Constitution on my desk. The paper is thin. The promise is big. Sometimes I touch the Fourth Amendment like tracing a scar. I think about how rights only work when people say, "Wait, read that again." Slowly. When I think back to Pump 3, I remember small things. The shadow of the gas station roof. The nurse shaking her head once. The teen trying to steady their phone. Amber breathing slow, knowing his video might change the night. What I carry is not the fear. It is the kindness of strangers who chose to be witnesses. The lesson is not that titles protect you. People protect you. Choices build culture. We choose every day. So now, I hand the story to you. Tell me what you saw. Tell me where the line is between a mistake and a crime when someone holds a badge. Tell me if you have ever raised your phone when your heart told you to look away. Tell me if you think the system worked, or if it only panicked because it chose the wrong target. Tell me how far this story travels. Tell someone who still thinks it is just a few bad apples. When you see a scene like mine, sun bright, voices sharp, fear rising, ask yourself the only question that mattered that day. Do you record? courage? Or do you look away? Liana sat on the floor for a long time after her mother left. She felt empty and confused. All she could hear were the words from Maya. Be careful how you speak about God. Those words stirred something in her heart. She looked around her room, unsure of what to do. She whispered to herself, if God is real, why does life feel so painful? The questions stayed with her all night. She could not sleep. She kept thinking about the warm feeling Maya brought into the house. It was different from the darkness she felt from Coco's words. She wondered why one person made her feel afraid, while the other made her feel safe. The next morning, her mother came to wake her up. She brushed Leona's hair and spoke gently. We will visit Maya today, she said. You will learn more from her. Leona nodded. She wanted answers. She wanted to understand. On their way to Maya's house, the same voices from the street shouted strange things. Someone called out that Maya had changed again, but this time they spoke with respect. They said she was sharing good things, words about a God who gives life, not fear. People listened to her calmly. The street felt lighter. When they reached the house, Maya welcomed them with a smile. She held Leona's hand and prayed. As she prayed, Leona felt peace spread through her body. It was like cool water on a hot day. She closed her eyes, and tears fell quietly from her face. When the prayer ended, Maya spoke kindly. She told her stories about a Savior named Jesus, who loved people who were poor, broken, and hurting. Maya said, Jesus is strong. He gives healing. He gives new life. He does not ask for darkness. He gives light. Leona listened closely. She asked many questions. Why do people follow lies? Why do some people make others afraid? Why would anyone leave light and choose darkness? Maya smiled sadly. People are often scared. They look for help in the wrong places. But when the true light comes, the darkness leaves. A few days later, news spread that Coco was seeking Leona again. This time, she claimed she had become powerful again and wanted to reclaim what she said Leona owed her. Fear returned to the village. People whispered that trouble would come. Some believed Coco. Others did not know what to think. Maya heard the news. She placed her hand on Leona's shoulder and said, Do not fear. The one who lives in you is greater than any darkness. Leona's mother felt afraid, but she stayed beside Maya. She remembered how peaceful her home felt after Maya's prayer. She knew that something was protecting them. That night, Coco arrived with a group of people. She shouted, demanding Leona come outside. Her voice sounded sharp, like metal cutting stone. But when she tried to step into the house, she suddenly fell to her knees. She started shaking, screaming strange words like before. The people around her backed away in terror. Maya walked out calmly. She prayed, asking God to break every chain of darkness. She did not shout. She only spoke the name Jesus. Coco screamed louder, but she could not stand. Her body trembled as if something inside her was fighting. Maya said again, Leave her. She is not yours. Suddenly, Coco collapsed. Her voice became weak. She cried like a child. She begged for help. The darkness inside her seemed to lose its power. Maya placed a hand over her and prayed. Coco slowly became calm. She opened her eyes and looked around, confused. Everyone was silent. Coco began to cry. She said she had been trapped. She said she had been afraid of losing the respect of people. That fear made her turn to dark power. She did not know how to escape. Maya hugged her and told her she could be free if she turned away from the darkness and followed the true God. Coco agreed. She threw away every symbol she had once used. The crowd watched as Maya prayed over her. The night air changed, like a heavy cloud finally lifting. From that day forward, things in the village changed. More people came to Maya to hear her speak. They wanted to know about God's power. They wanted to leave behind the fear they had lived with for so long. Liana felt new strength inside herself. She knew she did not belong to darkness. She learned how to pray. She learned more about Jesus. She began sharing what she had learned with other children. Slowly, the village became brighter. People spoke with kindness. The sound of laughter returned to the streets. One evening, Liana saw Coco again. She looked different. Calm, gentle, humble. She was helping clean the public well with other women. She saw Liana and waved. There was no pride in her face, only peace. Liana waved back. Her mother smiled and said, "See what God can do." Liana nodded. She remembered the fear she once carried, the confusion, the heavy weight. Now she felt light. Later, Maya gave her a small book and said, "This will help you grow. Remember what you have seen. Remember who saved you. Do not let darkness fool you again." Liana promised she would stay on the right path. Years later, Maya moved on to another village. She said God had more work for her to do. Liana grew up strong in faith. Many people still remember the day darkness fell and light returned. Liana would often stand outside at night and look at the stars. She would whisper, "Thank you," because she knew that if not for Maya's guidance and God's power, her life would have been very different. And whenever someone in the village felt afraid or confused, Liana would say the same thing that saved her life. Be careful how you speak about God. Because she had learned that words carry power, and God's name brings freedom. In informal English. A version in a different language. Just tell me.